Welcome, everybody. This is the Waiting Room Podcast. It is, I don't know, I think it's about midnight my time. I've got a late night going, so I said, hey, why not wait until the game is done for the night, and we will get my usual Friday show going. As I said in the lead up to the show, talking a little NBA playoffs today, a little bit about the George Floyd verdict. I'm gonna be honest, that's a lot of bit about the George Floyd verdict, Derek Chauvin verdict, and then just some personal stuff just to fill it all out. As always, guys, if you have any questions, email KyleDeWait@gmail, Instagram WR Podcast Official, and again, I usually post these about a day later, so I forgot the last show up. But usually a day later on YouTube. Like, subscribe, let your friends know, or don't. But hope you do. Hey guys, again, I've got that terrible magic still going. But you know what? It seemed to pay off today. So the Hawks took a 1-0 lead. They needed every bit of the 48 points Trae Young gave them. I don't know what to say anymore. It turned out to be a little bit different story for Game 2. Game 2, Trae goes for 15. I don't think anybody else got more than 12 for the Hawks. Giannis, 25. Middleton, 15. The corpse of Brook Lopez is still throwing his points, 16, and Drew had 22. And it's really going to be a story of these Eastern Conference Finals is honestly, if you have... It's going to be the guy that gets the most help. Again, the Hawks won Game 1 by 3 points with Trae scoring 48. He's not getting all the help in the world, but the Hawks have proven me wrong up until this point. I've always said Trae Young is kind of a losing player. He makes losing plays on defense. Hell of a basketball player, hell of an offensive player. End of the day, you watch him play and you're like, oh, there's Trae's guy going to the rack. But you know what? Lately, it hasn't been the biggest problem in the world. However, this game was over early. Game 2, it was 77-45 at half. It was 103-63 after the third. You look at the minute count for people, guys. It was done after 3. It was really done after half. Again, we play these games out, but the Bucks kept their foot on their throat and kept it pushing. I'm worried about jinxing the Bucks because, again, I've had that magic going this entire playoffs. The fact that the Clippers are still in it is just magical at this point. I couldn't fathom how they're still there. Speaking of the Clippers, they keep doing it. They go down 2-0. They go down 2-0 in spectacular fashion. Game 2, anybody that watched that Game 2, I've got some personal thoughts on it. Devin Booker had a moving screen to free up DeAndre Ayton. Wasn't called, so it does not matter. It was a hell of a game. It was a hell of a game. Paul George makes 2 free throws at the end of the game, makes 1 free throw at the end of the game. That dunks for a tie. Or, if he makes both of them, they have to go for 3. That dunk can never happen. However, this is how us fans get these wonderful moments in sports. DeAndre Ayton, again, freed up by a little bit of a moving screen by Devin Booker. And you know what? He throws it down with 0.8 seconds left. This is why I like sports. This is why we watch. But it was it's one of those things where you watch and you're like, oh, this is great. Clippers, what are you doing? It's 3 series in a row. 3 series where there's like, hey, it's a game 3 is where we're going to come back around. We're gonna chip in a little bit. We're gonna really put our stamp on it. They haven't lost a Game 3 all playoffs. Good for them. But gosh, you just wonder. Kawhi Leonard, clearly, it would help to have him, one of the best players in the NBA. But just constantly watching this Clipper team, kind of fuck around and look. I'm not trying to throw the stink off of them. It's just it's hard to see a road where they win the series. Again, they were snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, game 2, and then they came out and smacked the Suns in the mouth. That's great. It's great. Really happy that the Clippers didn't do what the Nuggets did and just roll over in game 3. However, it just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder why this Clippers team, who has veterans, who have good, talented young players, they have what you would expect out of a championship team. They keep playing around. But again, they came out. Booker and Paul, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, go 10 for 40 as a collective group. 6 turnovers, so it's not like they were throwing the ball away. But Crowder fouls out. 4 minutes left. Really didn't make a difference. The game was more or less over at that point. You hate losing a defender like Jay Crowder. But again, it's just one of those things where you look at it. It was a bad game by the Suns. That's really all I'm going to call it. Just like I will call this Hawks series that they're tied 1-1 right now. I'll just call it was a bad game. You know what? We have more basketball to look forward to. I can't really draw any conclusions. Again, I'd love to get my stank off the Clippers, but that's up to the Clippers at this point. I'm enjoying the playoffs. For most people, it's at this point, there's not a big superstar team there. It's what I'm not going to say true basketball fans, because a lot of basketball fans are Laker fans or Golden State fans. They love superstars. We all love superstars. We all love the best players in the game. But if you talk to some people, it's really nice to hear. Atlanta's a big media market. Atlanta's not, or hasn't been, past the Al Horford, Kyle Korver 60-win Hawks. They haven't been a household name in a while. The Clippers have lived in the Lakers' shadow, probably always will. And every time you think they're going to get past it, they 3-1 choke to Houston. The Clippers find a way to lose. And I hope this Clipper team, it's a different team. It's not soft-ass Blake Griffin. Yeah, I said it. It's not soft-ass Blake Griffin and, Chris Paul screaming at people. It's, Paul George and a bunch of guys that have been around. A couple guys on their team have won a ring. It's just one of those things where you have to wonder, hey, is this the Clippers' year despite losing Kawhi Leonard? Milwaukee, we've done the song and dance for a couple of years with Milwaukee. Every time we think they're about to do it, they find a way not to. Going back, they could have most likely beaten that Golden State team had they not kind of given up to that Toronto team. But again, we have a small market team with players we like to watch. Yeah, can't argue with it. And then Phoenix. Phoenix is my, not my home away from home. Maybe that's why I root so hard against it. Honestly, it's just like when I lived in Seattle, and Seattle had a good football team. Seattle Seahawks are still good. But something about living in a market makes it hard to just be like, I'm not a fan of the team. So it's hard for me to latch on and really say, oh yeah, that's what I want here. So maybe that's a little bit it. But again, Phoenix, it's not a huge market. It's a huge city comparatively to the rest of the country. But again, not a huge basketball market. It's not a huge superstar-laden team. It's Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and a bunch of guys you've heard of. It's a good team. But it's not LeBron and AD. It's not, the Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond. It's not those big Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen teams. It's not that. So for basketball, I think it's a good thing. Again, not if you're not a fan of one of those teams, but if you enjoy basketball, if you enjoy parity, I don't see any reason why you'd be upset about what's going on now. I'm currently drinking something with an alcoholic popsicle melted in it. There's a nice place right next to our apartment complex that fortunately sells all sorts of alcoholic beverages for you to drive up to the drive-in window and basically like it's a fast food place. But they serve alcohol and wings, but the drive-up window is specifically for the alcohol. And so I've taken my alcoholic popsicle and mixed it in the beverage, and it tastes great. Last on sports, just because I feel like it'd be silly if I didn't mention it. Six-time Pro Bowler David DeCastro gets released from the Steelers. I'm not upset. He's a talented guy. He's been talented for close to a decade at this point. You know what? I'm looking forward to the Steelers really sucking. I don't think they will. Mike Tomlin, who may or may not be Omar Epps, looks, if you don't know who one or the other is, Google Mike Tomlin and Omar Epps. You wonder if they're the same guy. Hell of a coach. They've had 0 losing seasons under it. 0 losing. I think they've gone 8-8. Fortunately, now for people that like winners and losers and no ties, we can't have any more 500 seasons for football. 17-game season. But again, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season with the Steelers. If he has it, I believe it's 1. Hell of a coach. I just don't see the Steelers sucking. But anytime you let go of a guy that's that talented, same with Baltimore, having Marshall Yonder retire a year ago, you notice the difference. David DeCastro, a really talented player, thinking about calling it quits. So for those that are like, hey, you can come to my team. Maybe not. He's talking about calling it a day. I'm always happy to hear younger guys. I believe DeCastro is close to my age. But, guys that aren't playing until they're 40, God bless you if you do. You play the game, keep making money, keep winning games. Hopefully you enjoy it. You play for all those reasons. End of the day, you wonder how some of these guys' bodies, brains are going to be. Not mad at a guy that's retiring, early 30s. God bless him, good for him. We all wish we could. So if he never plays another snap of football, lucky guy, lucky guy. That's it for the sports roundup. Really, I thought it was important today. I thought it was important to highlight this, and I don't know how the various people in my life feel about it. It's just one of those topics people are tired of talking about. I'm not. I love, again, I'm doing a podcast. I love talking. I love hearing people's opinions on why they believe what they believe, and if I'm wrong, why they feel I'm wrong. I enjoy hearing other opinions. I enjoy hearing how this makes people feel. Not when it's so much the hard stuff. When it's the hard stuff, it's a little harder because you can see the pain in people's eyes. And for a lot of people in my life, on both sides of it, I'm in law enforcement. I have friends in law enforcement. I have friends in law enforcement in the Twin Cities. They're good people. I don't really stick up for people that aren't. And I understand that people are saying the same thing about Derek Chauvin. I feel like I'll cover that as I run it down. But today they sentenced Derek Chauvin, and for those that didn't watch, they sentenced him to 22 and a half years. Anybody that really understands the judicial system, he'll probably serve about 80% of what he's got. That's the God's honest truth. So you're looking at around 17 years. He'll be in his 60s. It's not the most he could have got. It's about 90 months short of what was considered the max penalty, but about 120 months more than the minimum of what you'd expect for this type of case. I understand that this comes with a whole lot of feelings. I understand that this comes with a whole lot of, some people might be mad. Either side. Some people might think this affects the way that they police, and it can. I'm not pretending it doesn't. I hope it doesn't. I hope that the people that I know, the way that we train, the way that we do things, I hope for those people that they look at this and say, you know what, like this doesn't affect me. Most people I do know weren't upset to see Derek Chauvin arrested, weren't upset to see him convicted guilty. And you know what? This happened today, so I don't know how they feel about the verdict and what he was sentenced to. I'll also admit there are some things I am not fully versed on. He was found guilty of multiple charges. Counts 2 and 3 aren't to be adjudicated because they are lesser charges. I don't know if that's normal. It might be. Maybe you just charge a guy. Maybe you just adjudicate the most severe count. But that was something that I learned today. Was not sure if that's normal. So if anybody knows, hey, this is normal, abnormal, whatever, I'd love to hear it. But again, people were really frightened by this, and I don't blame them. When you think about what people expect is a slap on the wrist. So much so that both of George Floyd's living brothers, Terrence and Philonis, both brought it up when they spoke. I watched most of it. I watched it as early as I could. I believe I was a few minutes late, so I didn't catch the entirety of Terrence Floyd's comments. But what I saw was something important, is that both Terrence and Philonis brought up George Floyd's daughter. And as a parent that, as a parent that strikes me, a parent that hits home for me, as a parent, I think, man, the kid, regardless of what people have to say for George Floyd as a person, he's still a kid's father. And to hear that, his daughter asks about him and why he's gone. Kids are smart. I don't know if all kids are going to understand their parents never coming back. That what happened to their parent is wrong enough to get national attention. But both brothers made sure to say that they don't want to see a slap on the wrist. They both asked for maximum sentences, as they should. As a law enforcement officer, I'll tell people this sat wrong with me from the beginning. I didn't want to see something that I'd seen before. I didn't want to see something that would burden not just George Floyd's family, but yes, again, I have friends that work up in the Twin City area. People that are put in a little more danger because they still believe in good police work. They still believe in serving their community. It's one of those things where you have to look at both sides. You have to. When I looked at this and, I really thought about it, and I don't know what I'd do. If I'm being just clear about it, I don't know that I would say, yeah, I want the maximum sentence. I don't know that I'd be able to forgive Derek Chauvin, and I didn't hear I forgive you, and I don't think this is a case where forgiveness is something that's there. First of all, this is fresh enough to where that not enough time's passed. So I won't lie when I say I was a little shocked to see Derek Chauvin's lawyer ask for probation, plus the time he already served, 199 days. Now we're at 200 for a person's life. I understand that lawyers have a job to do. And for all intents and purposes, Derek Chauvin's lawyer did that. Derek Chauvin's lawyer fought for him as a police officer that didn't have a bunch of negative things against him. He had complaints. He had complaints against him. You can't ignore those. But the line that they drew is he had never committed a crime. He didn't get a DUI. He didn't have a petty theft charge. He didn't, this was his first crime. It's hard to ignore your first crime being murder. It's hard to say, oh, probation. He's been in law enforcement for 19 years. That's great. That counts, I guess, for an argument's sake. But I mean, I have this conversation with a lot of people. You can argue anything. Lawyers are literally paid to argue anything. And you know what? Derek Chauvin didn't get shorted. His lawyer did his job. His lawyer did his job up until today. His lawyer went as far as to point out the life-saving commendations he had, which, hey, throw out any old thing you can, especially right before your client is about to be sentenced to prison for, at max 30 years. At worst, they just hours before they tried to get a new trial going. And again, that speaks to somebody that's willing to do their job. Somebody had to do it. And you know what? I'm kind of happy to see a guy keep pushing for his client, even if he's wrong. He's wrong there. That's the God's honest truth. Derek Chauvin was wrong, but he had a lawyer who's like, hey, I'm not going to hold that against him and do my job to the fullest extent. And he did. And I almost guarantee that's what his lawyer continues to do, or that's the intention. Derek Chauvin's comment was really short. He offered his condolences to the Floyd family, and I don't know. As a human being, it wasn't quite a middle finger. But I was just, you can't say I'm sorry. Offering your condolences, you weren't somebody that witnessed it happen. You were essentially one of the causes, if not the only cause. I understand that the autopsy says two different things by two different autopsies. But it's fairly certain that, you don't knee on somebody's neck for 9.5 minutes and they probably don't die. Or at the very least, you have that, hey, he died in our custody, but I didn't put my knee on him. Probably still getting some jail time. But a knee to somebody's neck, hands in your pocket. That's honestly where my mind went when the comments were, I offer my condolences to the Floyd family, and I'll have some more that might interest you at a later date that might give you peace. Honestly, the only kind of peace that most people are interested in, and I'll speak for myself, that's it. But the only kind of peace that I was interested in is seeing him go to jail. If I'm being honest. I don't hope bad things. I don't hope anything bad happens to him in prison. But when you take somebody's life, you kind of forfeit your free will for your own. Now, I've met people that have killed. I work, it's been a little bit, but I work in a maximum security unit where, everybody will say they killed somebody. But fortunately, we have a system that tracks all that. And, I've met guys who have killed. And some of them are remorseful and some of them are not. That's the God's honest truth. Some people feel to this day that, I shouldn't be here. I had to do this to at least them. They had a reason they could cite. Oh, it was me or him. It's one of those things you don't really think about. You think, oh, like bad guy killed him. Well, there's two drug dealers that one was trying to get the other. One won, one lost. So you look at stuff like that, and hey, what's Derek Chauvin's like? I messed up moment. I honestly hope that day comes. To me, it's a little wild. Maybe not. Maybe not from the guy who's got his hands in his pockets while he's kneeling down on somebody's neck. But to not say I'm sorry, I know people don't take sorry for a lot. Sorry doesn't bring back George Floyd. But in my opinion, sorry says that I know I did something wrong. Now you get those people that apologize and keep doing it and apologize and keep doing it. Well, unfortunately, this guy's not going to get the opportunity to apologize and go kill somebody else in the name of being, a law enforcement officer. But to not say it, and I understand. I assume there will be an appeal. I mean, again, his lawyer's doing what he's supposed to. Maybe that sorry comes at a later date. Maybe the I know I fucked up comes at a later date. One more thing, and again, these trials aren't until next March at this point. So to not mention his fellow officers, to me, just it seemed very, I'm looking out for me. I'm not apologizing yet, if ever. I'm also not going to stick my neck out for three of the people that are, rightfully probably never going to be law enforcement officers again. But people that might do jail time because they were, essentially accomplices to a murder. Personally, I don't think those three officers deserve time in jail. Say, Kyle, you're wrong. Again, they were accomplices in a murder. I get it. It's just one guy held his legs. The other was trying to restrain his waist. George Floyd's a big guy. I kind of understand it. Again, you could tell me a guy securing his legs, a guy securing his torso area. You can't get me on a guy with securing his neck. You can't. I don't care how big he is. And then you had another guy who was trying to do crowd control. I'll tell you guys, some of that essentially was correct. I mean, it's not what anybody wants to hear. You're trained to secure a scene, and while yes, I know that there were some people trying to help George Floyd as he was suffocating. They don't know that. They're just trying to keep a situation that was terrible, situation that was going south and quick. I hate Monday morning quarterbacking it, so I won't. But But I can tell you, as somebody who's had guys fight and tell me they can't breathe and whatever, I've moved them, and I've moved them away from people, which is my best advice for anybody out there that's watching it. If you happen to be in that situation where you get a guy who says he can't breathe, make sure he can breathe. Move him away from people. Put yourself and them in the best position possible. This is me speaking largely, again, from guys that are incarcerated, guys that have done terrible things, guys that still try to do terrible things. I've witnessed a few stabbings. I've witnessed a guy bash his face off of his cell door so much that a baseball-sized lump developed on his skull. I've witnessed a lot of really bad stuff. I've witnessed multiple overdoses. Saved a guy once. He died 2 weeks later from overdosing again, but I can say, hey, I'm 1 for 1 on CPR and bring the guy back to life. At no point was like, well, he's a drug addict. Do I need to? No. It's like, hey, he's in my care. Which was something that was important, I think, that the state brought up. For anybody that's not sure, the whole your custody, your care thing is something that I firmly believe in. Once you have somebody in your custody, in prison, outside of prison, as a law enforcement officer, you're taught that. Might not be the most fun thing to be in a dangerous job where you also have to walk the fine line of a customer service aspect. It's 2021. It's where we're at. And it's one of those things I don't really fight anymore. I don't love that, I have to do everything with a smile, and that me speaking to people a certain way is, frowned upon. I don't love it. Not a huge thing. Not a huge thing for me to say, okay, you know what, I'll be more polite to people that have committed terrible crimes. But I believe in caring for people. I mean, that goes past my job. I think it's funny. Somebody I deployed with on my last deployment, recently promoted. I got really excited for her. Messaged her on her post, showing that she got promoted to, she commissioned as an officer. So she went from being enlisted to being an officer. That's a big deal in the military. But you know what? I told her, I was like, hey, you know what? I know I didn't give off that vibe, but if next time I see you, I'm going to throw up that salute. I'm going to give you a big hug. And, I said, I know I don't give off the vibe that I'm a hugger, but that's who I am. I care about people. And to laugh because, she reciprocated that response. But behind it was our commander from that deployment who was like, no, you didn't give that vibe as a hugger. Well, no. It's very well constructed to kind of get the go away from me vibe. Doesn't always work. It's not always the way to be either. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm okay being kind of a pain in the butt. People have used a little stronger verbiage when talking about that. But I still care about people. And I still care about when I see somebody harmed. Even if they stole something, even if they paid for something with counterfeit bill, even if they were on drugs or drunk, or resisting a little bit. You still show you care. it's one of those things that I don't really budge on. I've reviewed some of my friends' uses of forces. You know, at the prison, at the max unit, we do have cameras everywhere, essentially to cover the inmates, make sure nobody's lying on paperwork. Everybody's doing their walks. You can rewind it up to a certain amount to see, everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And occasionally I'd have a buddy say, hey, I need you to take a look at this. And some of those people don't work for that department anymore. And I was frank with him about it. And I told him, I was like, you fucked up. You fucked up. I mean, without any more, they said, I know. They were kind of hoping to hear something different. But your custody, your care, I mean, again, I had a guy come out of his cell. He was chained up, came out of his cell, still got free legs. Came out of his cell, kicked me right in the upper thigh. Really good kick. Nice round kick. Apparently, I found out a couple years later, he was trying to split the uprights on me and came around instead of up. I did my job in the moment. I told the individual to back up. He didn't comply. I pepper sprayed him. One of my buddies dove through a cloud of pepper spray and tackled him. So unfortunately, he got the, not exactly pepper sprayed, but, he dove through a cloud of it. It doesn't feel nice. And then another officer secured him, and I did what I was supposed to. And once he was secured, I removed myself from the situation, went and did my report. And then later, went and talked to the guy. I'm always curious, but I'd asked, why'd you kick me? Essentially, he was angry I didn't let him assault another inmate. I thought it was funny. It's like, so I got assaulted because I didn't let him assault somebody else. I had a nice bruise for 3-4 days. Again, solid kick. But after that all happened, it's like, hey, you okay? I did. I asked him. It's like, hey, like my leg hurts. You good? Part of it was, I mean, the other officer that secured him, that wasn't my buddy that tackled him, was about 300 pounds. 300-pound guy, jumping on top of you to secure you probably doesn't feel good. I've personally had to take guys to the ground. And I've had to adjust them. Hey, you okay? No, I can't breathe. Okay, move them. You okay? No, I can't breathe. Move them. You okay? Yeah, I'm good. I take that part of my job seriously. Just as serious as I take keeping them alive, keeping them secure. The care part of that job, it's not the funnest part. There are definitely people that are in the career field for the wrong reason. So yeah, the your custody, your care comment that the state brought up, yeah, it fits. The state brought up a few other things. And I don't know if the judge had already had a predetermined response to this. If I'm being honest, I'd say probably. Now, the reason I'll say that is I believe the judge had a 28-page memorandum. I mean, that didn't happen in the 15 minutes between final comments and sentencing. But let's see. Let's look at Kyle's notes. 22 pages. 22-page memorandum about why he came to it. I believe that's available on the internet. You guys can go find it. If I find it myself after this podcast, I will happily post it and attach it so you all can read why it was adjudicated the way it was. The other important thing that I think to talk about is the fact that the state brought up the right to potentially pay restitution because this is a murder case. This isn't a civil case. This is a murder case. But the state made it very clear that they wanted to leave the potential for restitution open for 30 days. I'm sure it's in that 22-page memorandum the judge put out. But I think it's important because, while, again, money is not bringing George Floyd back, it sends the message that they care. And again, whether or not people think their state or their law enforcement or anything in that regard, you need to make the effort. I mean, this is a lot of what I think is wrong with us today, us as a people, not just Americans. Again, I get my healthy dose of people from other countries. About to go meet some more. But people don't make the effort for each other. If it does not benefit you, if it does not do anything for you personally, a lot of people just kind of wave it off. A lot of people just say, nah, I'm good. I mean, I get it. It's not always fun to do stuff where you don't see an end game where you get something, where there's a reason for you to do it. But just to be decent human beings to each other, I mean, it's important. On the lowest level, it's important. I think it's important that the state said, hey, look, we do want to leave that open for this family. Maybe the family, tries for money. Maybe they don't. But I think them having that opportunity is important. I do. A few other things that just, again, I'll commend Derek Chauvin's lawyer for doing his job. He brings up that 67% of the 90 cases where somebody was a first-time offender, with their charge being second-degree manslaughter, he said they were all given the presumptive sentence. So again, it's about 12 and a half years. He brings up the number about 12% were mitigated factors and the rest were aggravated factors. He used words like nebulous and draconian. Look, I'm not against anybody expanding their vocabulary, using the words they know. But when you use words like nebulous in regards to what justice is, in regards to a murder case where your client's already convicted, he was found guilty. Justice isn't hazy. It's not unclear at that point. He deserves to forfeit some of his time, his free time. He does. Saying that, draconian. Draconian is just another word for strict. Again, I'm not against people using their larger than average vocabularies, but when you put it into a speech, it just seems like you're trying to shoehorn it in there. It seems like you're trying to say something else. It seems like you're trying to word something without wording that way. Just say it. Hey, I think justice is a little unclear here. What justice is? It's not unclear. From the time that you get convicted, you're guilty. And we all have a video to show, hey, Derek Chauvin fucked up. Derek Chauvin made a poor choice that day. Apparently, Derek Chauvin wasn't even supposed to work that day. I mean, it sucks. It sucks. It really does. For my friends that work in or around Minneapolis, they'll tell me, yeah, it's all very short-staffed. That doesn't win you points when we have a video of you kneeling on someone's neck. It just doesn't. Hey, glad he came in today. The rules still apply. That's it. Yeah. I can commend him for playing both sides. He did note how the death was tragic. And then he went on to speak about how it'd be tragic if you took Derek Chauvin from his family. Again, he's doing his job. I'm doing my best not to take a big old shit all over him for doing his job. Again, as I said earlier, it gives me a little bit of joy to know that somebody actually tried their ass off, did their job the way they're supposed to, the way that law enforcement typically does their job. You don't have to like the person. You don't have to like somebody trying to shoot them. But a lot of times, if they can avoid it, they don't. Unfortunately, that's not the truth that we see on television. That's not what we saw in this case. We saw somebody who had a guy secured, and yes, he was fighting a little bit. But he wasn't fighting so much that kneeling on his neck was something that made sense. Not for 9.5 minutes. At the point where you pass 30 seconds, you're going to have to start coming up with better excuses than, I didn't see anything wrong with it. He was fighting. That's just how I feel about it. I'm not speaking for my department. I'm not speaking for the military. I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm speaking about how it makes me personally feel. That's it. As I said, he noted he didn't... he never broken the law. He ignored complaints. And that again, a lot of what his lawyer said, doing his job, was yeah, but he never violated the law, but he had complaints. Again, he came in on his day off. He wasn't even supposed to work. Yeah, but he still fucked up. I find myself in a really precarious position. Those that I've spoken to in the last few months know that my hope is, once I return from my deployment, is to make one last push. I'm not pretending I'm a spring chick anymore. I'm not pretending like I'm ancient either. But by the time I get back from my next deployment, I'll be 33. Kind of pushing it for an age for a rookie cop. But I told people that's my hope. I want to go serve my community in the Phoenix area. And I get people telling me, well, why do you want to be a cop? You see everything on the news. You see all of this bad stuff. You see cops making poor decisions. You see people going after cops because of other cops, poor decisions. And I get that. I really do. But as silly as it is, the older I get, the more of service I'd like to be to people, the more I want to help people. 18-year-old me joined the military. I joined for the college money. I didn't join because I was patriotic. I didn't join because I was some, great guy. When I was 17, I was like, I don't really want to go to college. I don't want to be stuck in my hometown. A girl talked me into going to see the recruiter. I'll tell you guys. Yeah, a girl talked me to go see the recruiter. It was a friend who, at the time, was going to go to the Air Force, and talked me into going to see a recruiter. And I went and talked to the recruiter, and they let me know how much money I could get for college. I told them to stop talking. I was like, look, like you got me. Like, I don't want to go to college in my hometown, but the GI Bill, gives me a certain amount of money. Maybe I never come home. Maybe I can do something for myself. I just didn't want to go to college in my hometown. So I joined the military and was really selfish. Some of you guys have probably watched the pods that I did with Destiny and the pod that I did with Jamie. Both of them saw me at my near to lowest points where I was still interested in being very selfish. The older I've gotten, the more stuff like good policing's mattered to me. The more I got off of active duty out of a maintenance career field. Not maintenance. I maintained life-saving equipment. So oxygen masks, parachutes, life rafts, all that life-saving stuff on military aircraft was what my job was. And I felt I had outgrown it. But then I was like, well, how can I be of service to people? So I went and worked in Afghanistan for about 6 months. And then came back and said, you know what? Law enforcement's how I want to serve people. Law enforcement is how I want to contribute to society. It wasn't, man, I want to crack skulls. It was, I want to fuck up the bad guys. It was, no, I want to prevent crime. But I also want to be that police officer in my community that people are like, hey, that's a good guy. That's what I want. God willing, I get to live out that dream. I've seen a couple of friends over the last year finally reach their goals of being a street police officer, not working in the jail, not doing confinement, not working in just the military, but actually getting to serve their communities. It's what I want to do. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't worry about them every day. Which is why I understand why, my mother, my partner, some of my friends have said, why? Like we'd prefer you didn't. I understand it. I do. For the same reasons that I worry about all of my friends. I want to do better. I want to be the example. I want to keep showing people that, you're never too old to do things. I just want to keep helping people. And that's how I want to keep helping people. I mean, if that's what life has for me, then that's what it has for me. And I really hope if it's not my path, then I hope that the thing that it is there for is to be of service to people. I'm not quite a hippie. I want to have enough money to be comfortable, but doing things in the interest of money it's never been my thing. Yeah, I'd love to do things that paid well. Are they of service to people? Yeah, that's important to me. I don't want to keep sharing those with anybody that's watching. I want to keep sharing this and letting people know that, hey, it's, I'm doing all right. We're doing all right as people. I want to keep sharing stories with you guys. I don't know. I hope this keeps going for you guys. I hope this is still interesting to you guys a year from now. I don't know. I don't know that there's much more that I need to say other than what I normally tell you guys. I mean, it's nice to be nice. Keep being kind to each other. Do all the silly shit that our parents told us to do when we were younger. I don't know. That's what I got for you guys today. We're at the point in the show where again, I don't get paid by these guys. I just believe in them. I believe in them. They believe in me. And for the foreseeable future, I'm going to keep pushing out their names because they keep pushing out mine. So I'd like to start off again with the guy that got me started, Taj TV, TAIJH TV. You can find him on Facebook. He's also got a YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, follow him. He's a good dude. Again, we did it. I got almost a 3-hour podcast. It's one of my longest ones. They're my favorite ones. But, the guy has a different perspective on things. And again, sometimes they're what you expect. Sometimes they're not. But he's a good dude, and I want you guys to hear him. So again, Taj TV, YouTube, Facebook. I believe he's also on Instagram. Go look him up. Marcus over at Truth Valley Church. Again, a good guy. A good guy, great guy. He's had my back in some situations at the prison. You know what? Despite the gap that we have as far as distance right now, that's going to be growing very shortly. But he's always there for me. And the things that he does, I'll be honest. I didn't know that he was this involved with this church to the point where he has his own ministry. So I want to keep supporting it, guys. Truth Valley Church on Facebook. Not just Marcus over there. All those people over there, great people. If that's your thing, if it's not, keep on pushing. Doesn't really cost anything to go like or subscribe, and then just snooze it. But again, support these people. They're doing good things. They're good people. And last, and I'm not going to share his good news. Hopefully he shares it soon. But Jason over at the Arizona Flag Company, great guy. Again, if you are interested in those wooden flags that he does, they don't have to be just the American flag. Again, if you have a sports team you like to root for, and you want it, preserved in wooden form, showing your fandom, he'll give you 10% off for mentioning the podcast. Everybody likes free stuff. Again, he's doing a lot of stuff. He's always working. He wakes up, works, then goes to his actual job at the prison, and then comes home and works more on those flags. Does a great job. So again, Jason over at the Arizona Flag Company. You can find him on Facebook. And that leaves me, guys. Again, as I said at the top of the show, Waiting Room Podcast. If you are interested in, getting involved with the show, if you have questions, if you just, at some point I'd like to do a show where it's just questions you guys have for me. I guess I got to be a little more interesting. But, if you guys have any ideas, if you want to come and do a podcast with me, whatever you guys want, Waiting Room Podcast. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram at WR Podcast Official. And again, I'm on YouTube. I appreciate everybody that watches, everybody that supports the show. Guys, until next week, see you later.